kind of it's a lazy question, except it's not, because my whole concept for the show originally was, one, it was going to be like a writers' conference that anybody could attend anytime. You don't have to leave your house. You don't have to put on pants. You don't have to unpause your video game. Just listen to it and learn. And two, it was going to be a show that if I went on it, I would be happy that I went on that show. I would have had a good experience. And the question that I like to ask, that's kind of a placeholder, is there any question about a field guide to getting lost that you haven't answered, or that you would like to answer, and feel free to answer it.
Sure. So you know what? It's funny. I have done so many interviews for Blood, Water, Paint that like I have been asked all the questions so many times. Field guide, as of our recording, hasn't come out yet, and I've only done a couple of written interviews, and this is my first spoken interview. So there's nothing, there's like lots of questions I haven't been asked yet. But one thing I think I would mention is to talk about the setting a little bit, which is that it is set in Seattle, and it's set with a lot, which is where I live. There are a lot of very real places. So just about everywhere that is referenced that they go, possibly everywhere, is a real place. And so it's very fun for my kids. I think it'll be very fun for anybody, who knows the Seattle area to read, to recognize the different places they go. They go to the Museum of Pop Culture, which is called the Mopop, and that's where my kids are right now. They went with their dad to the Mopop this afternoon. I love Seattle. I didn't grow up here. I've lived here for the last 20 years. And so I just had a lot of fun sort of writing a love letter to Seattle in this book. And just, they both really love it in different ways. And they live in different neighborhoods that have very different feels, but that suit them. So yeah, I had a lot of fun writing about Seattle in the book.
Did you use that as an excuse to take like field trips and go do research and make sure you had all your details correct?
I didn't. I haven't been to the Mopop in quite a few years. They go to a park that I haven't been to in quite a few years. I really take the whole writer staying at home in my pajamas thing very seriously. And if I don't have to leave the house, I don't.
Well, then what does your writing day look like? Yeah.
Well, as I've referenced a couple times, I have kids. So that sort of, and I have homeschooled kids. So my writing day varies. And it varies also depending on where I'm at with, deadlines and whatnot. If I'm drafting something, or if I'm in revisions, or if I'm in copy edits. So I don't have like a beautiful, steady, I get up at 7 and I write for 3 hours. None of that. Like, too much craziness going on around me. Children have varying schedules, and there's Little League, and there's this and there's that. So I don't have like, it's different every day. But they're old enough now, and I have an extremely involved co-parent in my husband, who, for example, took them off to the Museum of Pop Culture, so I could do this without too much.
Very Emperor Penguin of him.
Yes. But yeah, so I don't have a typical day. But I probably get in a couple hours of working on whatever I'm working on, whether it's drafting or revisions or whatnot each day. But then there's so much more to authoring in terms of promotion stuff and doing interviews and writing essays that are going to promote the book and all that kind of stuff. So keeping the website updated, all those things, it adds up to a lot. So I probably do that stuff. Oh gosh, I don't even know how much time, but I do a little bit of that stuff every day too. Some writing every day, unless I'm in a research stage, and I'm okay with that. I'm not the kind of writer who says you have to write every day. Maybe I'm in a research stage and I'm just reading about whatever I'm researching, and that is work too, and maybe I'm in a stage where I need to fill my well, and I think those stages are really important to respect. You don't always have to be writing. So sometimes I'm in a stage where either because life's too busy or because I'm just creatively spent, I'm doing other things. I'm reading and I'm watching, good TV or movies or, just filling up in other ways, which I think is really valuable. We place a lot of emphasis on how much you produce. There are a lot of people who focus a lot on word count, how many words they got written in that day. And that's great if that motivates you. But I think we also have to be mindful of you don't always have to be producing. Sometimes you need to be filling up so that then when you're ready to produce, you have something to draw on.
Makes sense. The thought that occurred to me frequently is this idea of our shared literary conversation. And so I think that if all you do is produce word count after word count, you're the person at the party that's doing all the talking.
Right.
Listen occasionally.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I think that listening can take the form of reading, right? You're listening to the voices of other people. But that listening can also take the form of actual listening to other people. Writers in that sense of building your community like I talked about, but also having people in your world who are not writers, who are not involved in publishing at all, who can tell you what the outside world is like, and also who value you for something completely other than your writing, who don't care about your writing at all. They want to talk to you about whatever else, and that also fills you up as a person.
Something I learned early on that's been an invaluable research tool, but really just in learning about the world is one, tragically, I don't know everything as much as I might try. It's probably not going to happen. But two, if you sit down and look somebody in the eye at a convenient time, don't do this at the person at checkout line that's got a long line behind you. But if you find somebody they're comfortable with it, you sit down, you look them in the eye, and you listen more than you talk. People get comfortable, and they will tell you most anything.
Yeah,
and you're not a psychologist where you've signed some sort of ethical agreement that I would never share this in a story. No, change all the names, but go out there and find interesting stories.
Yeah, absolutely. You can learn a lot from just listening to people.